Good morning, everyone, and welcome inside the Spotlight Omaha podcast, where we take you around the city of Omaha, introduce you to local business owners, influential figures, and people who are making an impact on the community. We are brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. Pixel Fire Marketing is a locally owned marketing firm who specializes in website design, creating social media ads, and engaging your business online. If your company could benefit from any of that, check out pixelfiremarketing.com for more details today. Joining me inside the Pyramid Contractor Studio is Jake Anderson with Essential Motion, Spine, and Sport. Jake, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, Jimmy, thanks.
Let's talk about it, because there are so many pain clinics and chiropractic care, natural health clinics, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What do you guys do at Essential Motion, Spine, and Sport that kind of sets you guys aside?
Yeah, so we are a multidisciplinary clinic, meaning we have multiple providers. So in our office, we have 2 chiropractors, a physical therapist, and a massage therapist.
Okay.
So we all work very closely together. Our specialty is spine pain. So we see a lot of neck, shoulder. We see a ton of low back and hip. And in our office, we often co-treat. So there's a lot of people that, they might just see chiro, they might just see PT, they might just get their massage. But a good portion of our audience or our people will see multiple providers. So we co-treat a lot, either chiro PT or chiro massage a lot of the time. And I think that helps get people better faster when they're getting multiple different doctors or multiple different providers working with them and seeing things from a different perspective, which allows us to help people that have not been helped by the traditional, chiropractor only or PT or things like that.
When we talk about the athletic side of it, I think we all know somebody that's well past their prime, but they don't know it yet. How much are we talking about the difference in age and what you see in your patient?
Yeah, so we see people from all ranges. I mean, on the youngest side, we'll see kids like 6 years old. We don't really get much lower than that. And then adults will work up until, 80s, 90s even. The younger population, so specifically athletes, we're in the UBT Sports Complex.
Yeah.
So they have Omaha Sports Academy basketball and then Nebraska Elite Club volleyball there. So, there's thousands of athletes coming in and out of that building often. The good thing about being young is those kids typically bounce back from injury.
Recovery's great.
Yeah, they recover quickly. It does not take them long to get back from those minor aches and pains. If they need a surgery, obviously that takes them out a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But compared to people like us in our 30s, even 40s and 50s, those people tend to be less active in general. They're busy with their jobs. Taking care of family, they don't have the time to stay physically active or get in a consistent gym routine, and they just do not tend to recover as quickly. So those patients, which are primarily what we see, people in their 40s to 60s, they take a little bit longer to recover, but recovery is still possible.
When we talk about spine and hip pain, which is kind of your forte, how much are you guys working with, if at all, anything outside of that? Do you guys deal with knees and ankles and things like that?
Yep. So the majority of what we see is spine related. So I would consider that neck, shoulder, or shooting pain down the arm, numbness, tingling, things like that. And then we see a lot of low back pain, hip pain, or shooting pain like sciatica down the leg. Now with our location and being working with athletes and weightlifters and things like that, we do get our fair amount of true shoulder issues, rotator cuff, elbow injuries. We get knees and ankles a lot from the basketball players. So we do see a lot of, sports-related injuries, but spine is just what we specialize in.
We often, it feels like everybody's on a mission in medicine now to take the medicine out of it, right? Like not worry about painkillers or injections or things like that. When you have somebody come in, how much of an emphasis is there on trying to avoid surgery? Obviously, it matters more with athletes, but just overall, how much are you guys trying to make sure that surgery is maybe the last option?
Yeah, we feel very passionately that surgery should be a last resort. Now, that being said, surgery is the right option for the right person at the right time. Example, I had a patient the other day. She's had some chronic pain that we have been unable to change in the office, and we've done a lot of different things to try and work on that. And I had the conversation with her that, this might be something we can manage and kind of keep at bay, but the longer term solution is probably going to be the surgical route. And that's just the best option for her. So as much as we can, we try to resolve things with movement. And the reason we're able to help so many people is because over 90% of the pain that people deal with, it's mechanical, meaning it's movement related. So movements, positions, and loads affect their pain. And you can take any amount of painkillers or injections you want, but until you fix the movement issue, you're not going to solve the actual problem that is starting the whole thing.
When we live in a society where everybody's staring down at their phone, you see all that pressure on the neck and spine. But you do work with younger athletes. Is it as apparent with a neck and a spine of somebody that's ages, let's say 12 to 16, because of the constant looking at the phone and looking down at their desk in that motion?
Yeah, a lot of people tend to get that like tension or pain up between the shoulder blades or into the traps and lower neck. And, being as technologically advanced as we are, always looking down, having phones and laptops, that is a common area of pain. Is it something that we can necessarily avoid? I don't know, because it's become a huge part of our lives. But if you can find ways to stay active, and even things just like getting in the gym and working out and being active goes a long way towards reducing any of that like tech neck type pain that you can potentially get. So a lot of it's just changing your lifestyle factors and not necessarily avoiding the use of technology, because we need it for our lives.
What is the most common issue that you guys deal with, whether it be athlete or otherwise?
Low back and sciatica is going to be huge on that list, and then followed quickly by shoulder pain. Those are the like 2 or 3 most common things that we see in the office. You
mentioned you guys are out in out at the UBT Sports Gym. You're in Elkhorn. How much of a role does the Elkhorn community kind of play in your day-to-day business?
Yeah, I mean, the Elkhorn community is primarily who help. Majority of our population is the Elkhorn or West Omaha area. And as you know, Elkhorn's kind of a tight-knit community.
Very much so.
Kind of a lot like Gretna or like Bennington. Like, once you get your name around, you can certainly get out there and help more people. But Elkhorn's a nice, tight-knit community. I love the population out there. I love the community. So I'm happy to be in the Elkhorn area and helping those people.
You do a ton of stuff on social media about core building and strength building. And how much do you think the common injury could be maybe avoided entirely just by having a stronger core, or maybe just making sure that you're preparing your body for day-to-day rigmarole?
Yeah, we are huge proponents of fitness, and that doesn't necessarily mean you need to be the strongest person or lifting the most amount of weights that you possibly can, but just staying active, especially as we get Jimmy into our age, like in our 30s and 40s. Like, people need to stay active and stay moving. It's kind of a, if you don't use it, you lose it kind of thing.
Sure.
So if you just become sedentary, you're sitting around all day long, you watch Netflix at night, you never work out, your body's tolerance level is going to be way lower than the guy that does CrossFit or works out consistently 3, 4, 5 days a week. He can tolerate a lot more before he gets injured.
You guys strive to give you guys the best chiropractic care available. When we talk about doing routine, I guess we'll call it maintenance. I mean, making sure you're getting adjusted regularly and seeing your physician and things like that. What are some of the reasons that people tend to maybe steer away from trying to do that?
Yeah, so I mean, we can go down a rabbit hole here. Chiropractors have a history of being snake oil salesmen, or basically witch doctors. Basically just seeing people 3 times a week for the rest of their life, and that's it. They don't give you anything else to work on. So maintenance care in general, most people work down to like, they come in once a month, once every 6 weeks, mostly because they like to stay feeling good, they like to stay mobile, and they're active. So little injuries pop up, and we can prevent them from becoming bigger issues when we do more of a routine or maintenance style care. So I do think that's important when done ethically and not just lining people out and popping in and out of the office. So I should speak to that. A lot of chiropractors in the area, or traditional model, is 2-minute pop, see you later, see you next week. They get you in and out of the office. You're just like herding cattle. And in our office, we spend a lot more time with people, and we give them tools like movements or exercises to do at home to keep them feeling good, or use those when they are in pain to stop or mitigate a flare-up from happening.
I think a lot of times when we think about massage, we think about moms or wives going and just getting a relaxing hour on a table, and it's thought of as kind of a treat. What kind of physical attributes and benefits are there to massage therapy kind of on a consistent basis? Yeah,
so massage therapy really focuses on reducing muscle tension. They primarily only work on muscles.
Yeah.
So if you have those like chronic spots that people tend to just get achy, and the neck and shoulders is a huge one for most people, if you consistently have that worked on, you will continue to feel better, and you will prevent yourself from having that pain that just recurs and keeps coming up. And to speaking to your point about the relaxing massage, there's a whole bunch of different kinds of massage.
Yeah, there are many.
I always tell people, in our office, Anna, she's not necessarily the spa relaxing massage person. She's a trigger point, deep tissue, like a therapeutic massage. So it all depends on what you want. If you're wanting that relaxing experience, you should probably go to more of one of those spa type places.
Sure.
But if you're wanting to get rid of an injury or a pain or something like that, more of a therapeutic massage is going to be more beneficial for you.
We're catching up with Jake Anderson of Essential Motion Spine and Sport here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing inside the Pyramid Contractor Studio. One thing you guys do is dry needling, and that's kind of a newer concept or maybe a lesser known concept. Can you talk about what that is and why it's benefiting not even just athletes, but people in general?
Yep. So dry needling is very similar to acupuncture, which most people are familiar with. I call it like the Western medicine version of acupuncture. So it's got a little more science behind it, makes a little bit more sense. But essentially you take an acupuncture needle and you can target specific areas of pain. So whether these are muscle knots, we call those trigger points, or if you have a tendon issue, tendonitis, we call it tendinopathy. Those are areas where you can target with the needles and be a little bit more specific than just working on the surface like a massage. I call it like a deep massage in just a few minutes with the needling, and we can use that for a variety of different issues.
When we talk about technology, and you've already talked about the technological advancements in medicine, but you guys do a ton of social media stuff too. How much has the advent of Facebook and Instagram kind of helped your business, and why is it? Because I think when we think about chiropractic and massage and therapeutic stuff, social media doesn't necessarily go hand in hand for that. For most chiropractics, why has it been so beneficial for you guys?
I post a ton on Instagram. That's my primary outlet where I reach out to people doing educational things, fun things, or just showing treatment. Instagram has made up over 1/3 of my practice.
Wow!
So I've been able to.
Surprising to you?
Yeah,
because I seem shocked. You didn't.
I was very surprised initially. I did not realize it was that high. I thought it was going to be more like maybe a quarter.
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was over 1/3. So it's allowed us to showcase what we do or how we help people, and just get general free information out to the public that they can use without necessarily having to come into the clinic first. And it allows us to build not only our reputation, but build our connection to the trust to the community, and before they even get to meet us, and they can get benefit from that.
Have you ever been stopped in the store and been like, "Hey, it's the doctor from Instagram"?
Not yet. I'm not that famous, but maybe someday. We'll see.
If we're talking about growth, when you're in a location that kind of feeds you naturally, with having athletes in the gym every single day, what does growth look like for you guys?
Yeah, so growth, meaning we want to help as many people as possible without sacrificing the quality of care. So whereas most chiropractors, they want to crank through hundreds and hundreds of people a week, we don't want to get to that amount, because at some point something has to give and the quality of care will have to diminish. So we want to still be able to spend quality time with people, get to know them, get to know their families, and be more specific when we deliver care to their situation, and not just be quick in and out and not being as thorough as possible. So if we can grow and help as many people and add other providers in and continue to help the community, that would be ideal.
Fantastic. I mean, has there ever been discussion about another location, or maybe a different part of town, maybe a different city, things like that?
Yeah. So with our office setup, we're technically 3 separate offices operating as one.
Sure.
So we're in a group practice setting. One of our physical therapists, he has another clinic that also has chiropractors on 50th and Center.
Okay.
But yeah, we're open to opening other locations or expanding in our current space first.
Sure. What defines success for you then? If we're talking about, like, because you mentioned you have multiple partners, a lot of different moving parts, a lot of different patients, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What defines success for you personally?
Yeah, if you asked me that a few years ago, it would have been, make as much money as possible and live a great life. But I had a kid in the past year and a half, and that totally changes your outlook on everything. So success for me, obviously I want to be successful in my career and help as many people as possible. But now I want to be the best dad I can be and spend as much time at home with my family as I possibly can, and make that the priority.
I want to get to that in a minute, because that's a question we ask just about every business owner that comes in here. But for you as a partner in your practice, we mentioned it in the epilogue. The business has been around for 11 years. We've been with the company for 4. How do you navigate I'm a partner in this, but it's been here before me, so I'm kind of still earning my stripes, et cetera. Is that difficult for you to do?
Yeah, no. In the chiropractor world in general, like, it's kind of like a build your own practice anyway. Dr.
You got people that sit there with tables outside of like college registration.
I mean, everyone's trying to get their name out there.
Sure.
And which is fine. Like, I don't have any problem with it. Dr. Jeff and I work well together. We treat patients for each other. I love the team atmosphere, and we can both learn from each other. He's a more experienced chiropractor. I'm coming out with newer knowledge, and we can kind of work together to not only make ourselves better, but help the community more.
Yeah. Why was chiropractic the right direction for you to go?
Yeah, great question. So if you ask any chiropractor this, it was probably an injury in sports when they were younger.
Yeah.
That inspired them to be a chiropractor.
Answers.
So yeah, I was playing basketball. God, I was probably, like 12, 14, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And I grabbed a rebound, came down, jarred my back, and then like had no strength in my leg. Couldn't run, couldn't jump, couldn't play, had to be taken out. So my parents ended up taking me to a chiropractor. So shout out to Dr. Eric Clements. I went there like twice, and it was like, boom.
Yeah, I always laugh. So my co-host at night is a very big proponent that chiropractic doesn't work.
Yeah, okay.
And you want to take a guess how many times he's been adjusted?
Yeah, probably 0.
Rhymes with 0. Yeah. And I remember the first time that I got adjusted, I think I was 31, and it was like light bulb.
Yeah, I mean, it can make a
this
huge
makes
difference.
a huge difference.
Yeah, for sure.
If somebody is out there thinking about getting into chiropractic care, what type of advice would you give them about starting their own practice or maybe finishing up school? And the first thoughts.
Yeah, so I still am pretty involved with a lot of the people at my chiropractic college, Logan University.
Where's that located?
That's in St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
So if you're interested in chiropractic, number one, get out and shadow as many different doctors as possible. Make sure it's something you love, and then find out what chiropractor you want to be. I mean, everyone practices differently, and I'm not saying any way is right or wrong, but you got to enjoy what you do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So get those different experiences, find out what you want to do, and the beauty of chiropractic is you can practice however you want when you get out of school. So do your research on the schools and find out what school aligns most with you. Don't just go to what's closest. There's different styles of practice that come out of each one. I really love Logan University in St. Louis, and if you ever have any questions, you can reach out to me directly. I'm happy to help in any way.
I want you to take your doctor gloves off for a second and put your entrepreneur hat on for a second. What is something you know about owning your own business or being a partner in a business today that you didn't know 4 years ago that you wish you knew then?
Everything.
Yeah. Okay.
How much work goes into it initially, and then how much longer it takes to build than you actually think it will. You know, I'm from the Omaha area, so I thought I would come right back here.
You know everybody, right?
Yeah, I know
and everybody's
everybody.
gonna come see you. Why
right.
They?
I thought practice would be booming right away.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It didn't happen like that, which is fine. So, yeah, you have to wear many hats, kind of like you just described. You got to do marketing, social media. You have to do the back end business stuff. You actually have to provide the service. I mean, you're doing everything you can in the beginning until you can get some help, but never give up on focusing on what you do well and trying to get other people to help with all the other things that you don't do well.
I don't have a black couch in here, but I am a therapist from time to time because a lot what we talk about in this room is fear. And when you're starting your own practice, you weren't a father yet, but you're starting your own practice and you're expecting boom, 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 and you're getting crickets. What was the original thought process when you're struggling, you're not getting the clientele you thought you would, and how did you maintain and handle that situation?
So you constantly question, am I making the right decision? Is this going to work out? Am I going to be okay? And, in my position, thankfully, my wife was working. So if I didn't bring a ton of money in right away.
Your wife's name is?
Megan.
Shout out to Megan.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Megan took care of us there.
Yeah.
So, she was able to provide for us while I began building, which was good because if I didn't have that option, I may have,
And she thought she landed a doctor.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, she's a doctor herself. So
she's doing all right for herself. All right.
Yeah. So thankfully, we were able to live on her income while I continued to build a practice.
Right.
And I mean, it's very scary when you start off on your own, but in the end, it's going to work out. You're going to be fine. And once you get the groove going, like it naturally just kind of progresses over time and you continue to grow.
Well, let's talk about the family stuff for a second. We're talking to Jake Anderson with Essential Motion Spine and Sport here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing inside the Pyramid Contractor Studio. We talked to a lot of business owners in here that their spouse or their partner is essentially involved in the business. Yours isn't, but you guys are in the same field.
Yeah.
Easier or more difficult to deal with?
So she is in optometry, so she's not a chiropractor.
But she's a doctor.
She's a doctor.
Yeah.
So she understands not only the demand of how you got there, but she's also in her own clinic setting kind of. So she had to help. She doesn't have ownership in the practice, but she had to help build it.
Yeah.
So she knows like how long it takes and how much time goes into it. So she's been very supportive and always been open to us doing our own thing, kind of building this practice out.
You're doing stuff on social media. You're seeing patients. You're helping grow a business. You're helping young athletes. You're a husband.
Yeah.
You're a father. How do you balance all that?
Man, I don't know if there's a perfect balance by any means. You do as much as you can to devote as much energy as you can to everything. But like I said, man, having a kid really changes your outlook on everything. before a kid, you're primarily focused on, career. And then you have the kid and it's like, dang, man, I really want to spend as much time with my family as I possibly can. So thankfully I've been able to take a day off or do short days during the week where I can pick up my kid early from daycare and we'll go to the zoo or, pumpkin patch or things like that. And I love that quality time that we get to spend together, go do something fun. He's only 14 months, so he's not going to remember it, but I'm going to remember it. And it's special to me.
It's the best part about being a dad.
It's just it's all good, man. It's every new stage is different, but it's so fun to just like watch your kid learn and experience all the new things and watch their reaction. And you get more entertainment out of that than doing anything yourself. Like
what is something you do as a husband that helps you as a doctor?
Something I do as a husband that helps me with my doctor. Yeah, it would just be, we're helping people all day long. So as much as I can be supportive to my wife and cater to her needs, not only as a wife, as a mother, and she's a working mom, communication and working together, teamwork, I guess, would be the theory behind that, is working together as a team and not just being individuals trying to do something together.
If you weren't doing this, let's take the whole medical field out of it.
Yeah.
What would you be doing?
So, that's a good question. My dad...
Other than getting rebounds in a 12-year-old basketball league.
My dad is a business owner, so he owns a carpet cleaning and water damage restoration company here in Omaha.
Which one?
It's called Big Red's Guaranteed Clean.
That's a free shout out.
Yeah. So if I was not a chiropractor, I'd probably still be in the carpet world or helping expand that business.
How much did seeing your dad kind of do it help you realize that you could be an entrepreneur and you could start your own business?
Yeah, greatly. If I didn't have that growing up, I don't know that I would have had the confidence or the background knowledge to kind of have that readiness to jump and just go out on my own right away. He definitely does not have an employee mindset.
Yeah.
And that kind of was instilled in me. And he has this, just you'll figure it out kind of mindset on things. And I really liked that.
My dad didn't either, but he was an employee. So it wasn't a good combination.
So I think that definitely helped inspire me to have the, I'm just gonna say, have the balls to go out and do it on
podcast.
your own. Yeah.
Do whatever you want. How much does he kind of influence what you do today? I'm like, when you decided to start the practice, how much did you have a conversation with him about it?
Yeah. We talked about it nonstop, like ideas for marketing or, just getting things set up and in place. Yeah. He was definitely instrumental in helping me get up and running and get started and have some of those, like, setting up QuickBooks or even just some of the back end stuff that you don't think about when you start in business.
What is something that you would like to see in your practice in 5 years that's maybe not there now?
Yeah, volume wise, I would like to be close to that mark where I can't take any more patients. Yeah. And it's time to either expand, add another location, add another provider, or add someone else new entirely. We have, like I said, we have chiro, we have PT, we have massage. We've thrown around the idea of adding like a nurse practitioner or something in the past. Sure. Basically just expand to help more people.
If you could tell yourself something 10 years ago about what you're doing now without telling you exactly what you do, what would it be?
Yeah, I would say to start reading and listening to podcasts more.
Good call. Listen to podcasts. They're great.
So there's tons of like valuable information you can get from podcasts. But after I got done with school and started, practice, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. So like I had to listen to motivational or, self-growth podcasts, books.
You got one you could throw out there?
Things like that. Yeah. Rich Dad, Poor Dad was a fantastic book that I think everyone should read.
Yep.
And then podcast, the big one I've been on lately is Andy Elliott's podcast. I think it's called the 1%er podcast. Okay. He's like a car sales fitness guy. Sure. But super motivational, self-growth, just talking about like doing anything you can to make yourself better and then applying that to everything in life, not just your career, but with your family and everything. So.
The education portion is interesting to me because once you're a doctor, it's not like medicine stops and healthcare stops. You got to constantly kind of educate yourself. What do you do to kind of make sure that you're still in the know and other than podcasts, obviously, to still make sure that you're...
Yeah, so on the chiropractic side, I have some podcasts I listen to, but we have some books that I really like that can just kind of like, reiterate some of the knowledge you already have. And then we also have access to the internet. So we can look up any article on any topic at any time. And thankfully, like a lot of those medical articles, they have a bunch of jargon that, the majority of people wouldn't understand. But since we have the background training, we can take that information, read it, and then apply it if it needs to be applied in a clinical setting.
We're kind of hitting that point where we tend to wrap it up for the day. Is there anything about Essential that we haven't mentioned that people should know?
Man, I think you hit it all. Yeah, I just want to reiterate that we really specialize in neck, shoulder, low back, hip pain, and then shooting pain down the arm or leg. So if that's something you're dealing with and you haven't gotten answers or you're still questioning what to do, we would love to be a part of your team and help you get over that hump and get you the relief you're looking for.
421 all 5-star Google reviews on Google. 21015 Cumberland Drive in UBT, like we mentioned, out in Elkhorn. You can also call 402-932-5394 to work with Jake and the team. Buddy, I appreciate you coming in on Monday doing this with me. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing, inside the Pyramid Contractor Studio, talking to a new business owner and getting their thoughts on their industry and educating you at 11 a.m. tomorrow. We'll see you.